Hello and welcome everyone. Once again we're here at Principia Mathematica. So today we're going to study how to multiply fractions. In our previous videos we studied what fractions are and we studied how to add them and how to subtract them. And today we're going to study how to multiply them. So let's start. How to multiply fractions. How to multiply fractions. So let's start with an example. Let's say that we have 5/9 times 7/6. Well, this is very easy. You just need to multiply 5 times 7, 35, and 9 times 6, 54. Okay? And now 35 is 5 times 7, and 54 is 9 times 6. So I don't believe that this fraction can be simplified. Let me confirm this. Let's see if there's anything. No, this one is the final result. Yeah, so very easy. Just multiply the top numbers, namely the numerators, and then multiply the bottom numbers, namely the denominators. Let's try another one. 4/3 times 5/9. Well, once again, 4 times 5, 20, and 3 times 9, 27. Yeah, which cannot be simplified either. Let's try another one. 2/3 times 2/3. 2 times 2 is 4, and 3 times 3 is 9. So this is the final result. Let's try 1/2 times 1/2, which would be 1/4. 1/4. Yeah. Now, what happens when we have something like this? 2/3 times 3/2. Well, in this case, I would recommend not to work out the actual product, but just to leave it, just to write down not what the product is, but just the factors. So instead of multiplying 2 times 3, that will be 6, just write down the factors. 2/3, yeah, and then, well, sorry, not 2 times 3, and then here multiply 3 times 2. Yeah. Now it turns out, if you remember, well, we can change the order here, and we can write 3 times 2, and here we leave the denominator exactly the same, and then we can split this fraction into 2, and then we would have 3/3 is 1 and 2/2 is 1, so 1 times 1 is 1. Let's try another one. 4/5 times 10/9. 5 times 9, well, again, since we have like a multiple of 5 in the numerator and we have a 5 in the denominator, instead of working out the product, we're going to just write down the factors. So 4, instead of writing down 40, we write down 4 times 10, and here 5 times 9. And then we notice that 10 is equal to 5 times 2. And here we have 5, and then here we have 9. So I'm not going to change the order of all the numbers in the numerator. Like here, I'm just going to use the fact that here we could have just simplified, like noticing that 3 divided by 3 is 1 and 2 divided by 2 is 1. So, and we will get 1, yeah? So we're going to do the same thing. 5 divided by 5 is 1. So the final result will be 4 times 2, 8 ninths. Let's try another one. 7 eighths times 16 21st. Sorry, 21s. So this would be 7 times 16, and here we would write down 8 times 21. So 16 is equal to 8 times 2, and 8, well, we leave the 8 here like this, and 21, it turns out that is equal to 7 times 3. So 7 times 7, 7 divided by 7 is 1, and 8 divided by 8 is 1. So the final result would be 2/3. Another example. 52 24ths and 4/13. So once again, we multiply 52 times 4, but we don't work out the product. We just write down the factors, and we write down 24 times 13. Now 52 is equal to 4 times 13. Yeah, 52 is equal to 4 times 13. And then 24 is equal to 4 times 6. And then we have the 13 here. Yeah? So 4 divided by 4 is 1, and 13 divided by 13 is 1. So the final, well, the result will be 4/6. But we remember that 4 is equal to 2 times 2, and that 6 is equal to 2 times 3. So we split this fraction up into two new fractions, and we would have 2 halves times 2/3. So 2 divided by 2 is 1, so we will have 1 times 2/3, which will be 2/3. Yeah? Now let's try an example. With 3 numbers. Like for instance, 2/3 times 6/7 times 1/4. So once again, we don't work out the actual product. We just write down the factors, and then we write it like this. Okay, yeah, we write it like this. So we will have 2, and then 6 is equal to 2 times 3 times 1. And then we will have 3 times 7, and then 4 is equal to 2 times 2. Yeah? So 3 divided by 3 is 1. 2 divided by 2 is 1, and 2 divided by 2 is 1, so we would have 1/7. Let's try another example, like 3 times 4 times 4/5 times 5/6. Once again, we write down the factors without multiplying them. And now we leave the top numbers like this, and then in the denominator we notice that 6 is equal to 2 times 3. So 3 divided by 3 is 1, 4 divided by 4 is 1, and 5 divided by 5 is 1, so the final result is 1/2. Another example, 23/34 times 17 divided by 28 times 7 divided by 69. Well, once again, we could multiply all these numbers and get the product, but we're going to just write down the factors. But then we're going to notice something. We're going to leave the 23 like that. We're going to leave the 17 like this and the 7 like this. Now 34 is equal to 2 times 17. 28 is equal to 4 times 7, and 69 is equal to 3 times 23. So 23 divided by 23 is 1. 17 divided by 17 is 1. 7 divided by 7 is 1. So what would be our final result? Our final result would be 1, yeah, because we got no numbers left in the numerator apart from 1, yeah, because each time we divided this one, for example, 23 divided by 23 is 1, 17 divided by 17 is 1, and 7 divided by 7 is 1, so it's 1 times 1 times 1, so the numerator is 1. And then we would have 2 times 4, 8 times 3, 24. So that would be the final result, 1/24. So what happens when we have a mixed fraction? Well, in this case we need to turn this fraction into an improper fraction. So we would start like by multiplying 2 times 1, 2 plus 1, sorry, 2 times 1 is 2 times plus 2, sorry, 2 times 1, 2 plus 1, 3. 3 halves times, now 3 times 1 is 3 plus 2 is 5 thirds. So once again, we don't work out the product, we just write down the factors, and then we would have like this, yeah. 3 times 5, which could be 15, but it is better to write it like this, and 2 times 3 would be 6, but it is better to write it like this because we can simplify now. 3 divided by 3 is 1, and then we would have 5 halves. What about this one? 5 and 1/4 times 2/9. Well, once again, we turn them into improper fractions. 4 times 5 is 20 plus 1, 21/4 times 2 times 9, 18 plus 2, 29. Yeah? And then we just write the factors, yeah? And then we remember that 21 can be written as 3 times 7, and 20 can be written as 5 times 4. And then we would have 4 here, and then we would have 3 times 3. And then 4 divided by 4 is 1, and 3 divided by 3 is 1. So we would have 7 times 5, 35 thirds. As you can see, multiplying fractions is much easier than adding them or subtracting them. Let's try another one, like 8 1/3 times 5 1/4 times 1 3/25. Well, once again, we need to turn them into improper fractions. So 8 times 3 is 24 plus 1, 25 thirds, times 4 times 5, 20 plus 1, 21 fourths, times 25 times 1, 25 plus 3, 28 25ths. Yeah. So, instead of multiplying all these numbers, we're just going to write down the factors, yeah? Now it turns out that 25 divided by 25 is 1. So now we're going to express 21 as 3 times 7 and 28 as 4 times 7. And then we remember that we have 3/4 in the denominator. So 3 divided by 3 is 1, and 4 divided by 4 is 1. So the final result will be 7 times 7, 49. Let's try a couple of 2 more examples. like for instance 3 times 1/3 times 3/5. Well, first of all, we need to write down 3 as an improper fraction, and then we will have 1/3 times 3/5. So we write down the product as 2 factors, yeah, 3 times 1 times 3, and then 3 times 5. 3 divided by 3 is 1, so the final result will be 3/5. One more example. 2 and 2 and 1/2 times 1/5 times 2. So what will we do in this case? It will be 2 times 2, 4, plus 1, 5, 5/2 times 1/5 times 2 divided by 1. And then we write down the product, the numerator as 5 times 2, and then here in the denominator we will have 2 times 5. And then 2 divided by 2 is 1, and 5 divided by 5 is 1, so the final result will be 1. Okay? So now what would happen if we had, for instance, 1/2 minus 1/3 times 6? Well, this is a product of fractions, because this thing inside of the brackets, is a fraction, and this is a fraction as well. So what do? First, we need to find out what the value of this fraction is. So the least common multiple would be 6. So it is 6 divided by 2 is 3 times 1, 3 minus 6 divided by 3 is 2 times 1, 2, so we will have 1/6. So now we multiply this 1/6 is this number in the brackets, so we will have 1/6 times 6 divided by 1, and then we have 1 times 6 divided by 6 times 1. And then 6 divided by 6 is 1, so the final result will be 1. So that's everything for today. So now you know what fractions are, how to add them up, how to subtract them, and how to multiply them. So that's everything for today. If you enjoyed this video, please press the like button and subscribe, and see you in the next video. Thank you very much.